In 2 weeks of actually posting consistently on this channel, in this video, I'm going to explain exactly how I scaled this channel from 50,000 to 5 million views a day and all the strategies I use to actually run it. Because it's more than just uploading consistently and uploading quality content. It's more than just increasing your swipe ratio and increasing your average view duration. There are so many nuances and key steps that most people do not talk about. So I kind of want to go over in this video to kind of give you guys a better understanding. If you don't know who I am, my name is Devin Sinath. Over the past 8 years, I've been scaling multiple YouTube channels. And in the past month, I've generated over 1.5 billion views across all my social media platforms. If you don't believe me, here's just all of the YouTube channels I'm currently running right now. As you can see, I do have quite a few YouTube channels. I also do run a multitude of Instagrams and TikToks as well, and I'm teaching a wide variety of people in multiple niches just to scale them up. So I'd say I'm pretty qualified. So let's get into it. So first things first, what I would say if you're trying to scale from 50K views to 5 million views, or even 0 views to 5 million views a day, is you need to pick something that is actually going to be widespread. So I actually was able to have a little question with Mr. Beast. If you know who Mr. Beast is, it's Jimmy. I actually was able to ask him one question a couple years ago, actually. It was in a group call, like 100 people. Everyone could raise their hand and ask a question. And I was able to ask him what niche is the best niche to actually start in, because picking your niche is pretty much the first real step of starting a YouTube channel. And if you don't pick the right niche, then you're basically just cooked, because how can you get views if your niche sucks, right? And his response to that was, don't pick a niche, just target the world, right? Because if we're targeting the world, we're just maximizing the most amount of views, and that's his entire strategy, to make content so good that anyone from anywhere in the world can watch it and just be entertained, right? And that's your goal as a content creator. You're trying to make money, right? But really, your goal is to provide the platform you're uploading on, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, the best high quality content to be able to be shown to everyone. Because the more people who can watch your content, guess what? The more money you're going to make, the more views you're going to get, the more audience you're going to reach. It's all hand in hand. And that starts with picking a niche. So if you are going to pick a niche, I recommend picking the world. So what niches are actually best for targeting the world, right? So first, you got to actually figure out which niches have the biggest demographic, and we're going to kind of go over that now. The first demographic I would say has the biggest niche with the biggest potential and the easiest to start is definitely Roblox. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably already uploading the Roblox niche, or maybe some of you guys think the Roblox niche is stupid. Well, I'm here to say that we have generated over $70,000 in revenue across some of the channels we're running right now, just purely off Roblox content alone, because people are eating this up. Some of the two biggest games in the world right now with Roblox is Steal a Brainrot and 99 Nights. If you don't know what those games are, don't worry. I don't really know what it is either, but I have channels that are automated and actually running these systems so I can upload a massive amount of content to generate good, sustainable income every single month. So you don't actually know, you need to know what the game is about to actually be able to upload content. All you got to do is just look at what other people are doing and then just kind of just replicate what they're doing and then integrate the strategies I'm going to show you later in this video, retention hacking, to actually be able to reach a wider audience. Because remember, if we're targeting the world, what do we want? We want to get the widest reach possible. So there's a couple things that I see a lot of content creators actually making mistakes on that I want to kind of go over first before we actually figure out actually how we're going to target, these bigger niches. So a lot of you guys, when you guys are making content, I noticed that you're putting content in your native language. And that's not your fault, because we are drawn to what we actually grew up in. For example, if you speak English, you're probably going to make English content. If you speak Portuguese, you speak Spanish, you're going to make Portuguese content or Spanish content. If you speak Thai, you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter what content you're making in. Whatever language you know is whatever language you're making content in. And that's a big problem, because if we're targeting the world, well, only 20% of people in the world actually speak English. That's a problem, because then what about the other 80%, right? So I would actually say that language is probably one of the biggest barriers of people actually getting views. Because if you can communicate your video, story to a wide range of audience without using language, you can target 100% of the population on Earth. Just think about that for a second. Language is the biggest barrier to entry. And this goes back to what Jimmy said about targeting the world, right? Because if you can target the world, what do you need to be? You need to be able to target everyone who speaks every language. Now, there's two workarounds for this, all right? One is easier, and one is really, really hard. I'm going to go over both of them. So the first easiest one is just using native storytelling. So if you use visual storytelling, when you are actually making content, which I made another video on, but I'll kind of go over it again. If you use visual storytelling to actually be able to tell content with just visuals and sounds, then you are not limiting yourself by language. That's why most stories are communicated, even in books like the Bible, it's communicated through stories, right? And of course, these stories are real, but these stories are how people communicate with each other. Being able to communicate with stories gives you the ability to communicate in multiple languages because stories are able to be understood. All right. So, for example, if you're watching a visual movie, right, and this movie is very visually entertaining, you're able to watch it without even not even having to know the actual words that's being said because it's so interesting. And because short form content are just 60 seconds long, it is very easy to make visual content because you just got to grab them in and keep them there, right? So, visual storytelling is a very, very powerful way to actually target everyone in the world because it's not limited by what? Language. The second option is a little more hard, but it is possible. All right. This is multi-language content. Now, not everyone has access to this, but you can have access to this. And also with the new YouTube update that's going to be coming out soon, you're actually going to be able to upload shorts, long form, live streams. It's going to be live translating with AI in every language. I'll go over that a little bit more in a second, but I'm going to kind of explain what multi-language content is. So if you actually go to any video of Mr. Beast, you're going to notice something really weird when you click on the settings. I'll actually show you right now. So here's one of Mr. Beast's most recent videos. If you click on settings, you'll actually see audio tracking. You'll see there's 23 different languages you can pick from. If you click on any of these languages, it's actually going to change his language from whatever your native language is to another language. For example, French, German, Hindi, Indonesian, Italian, doesn't really matter. As long as you have this feature enabled, you're going to get a huge wide range of audience. That's why Mr. Beast is able to get so many views because he expanded to different languages, right? Because he understands that language is a huge barrier to entry to actually get a multitude of views every month. That's how I'm getting over 500, that's how I'm getting over 1.5 billion views every month because I'm actually communicating through multiple languages, one, and two, I'm using visual storytelling. So I'm actually kind of combining both of these together. Because remember, we don't want to have a one-track mind. I'm only going to do visual storytelling, or I'm only going to do multi-language storytelling. We want to do both, right? And if you wanted me to go into more detail about multi-language storytelling, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to actually get, VAs, you're going to have to get voice actors and actually be able to have them communicate in other languages for you. This is for more advanced creators. If you're already in, a big niche and you actually have the ability to hire voice actors, it's only a couple $1,000s a month. You'll be able to easily be able to scale up your channel because more people are going to be able to understand your content. Only 20% of people speak English. That's not as much as you would think. You start communicating in Spanish and Portuguese, boom. German, boom. You just completely 5x your average audience size. So I recommend using these two to actually grow your channel. All right. Now, as for short form content does not currently have a multi-language setting yet, but I want to talk about this new YouTube setting that actually got released around a week ago, where YouTube is actually going to be allowing any creator without using a voice actor to use AI to actually lip sync and be able to talk in any language. So YouTube announced this new feature about a couple of weeks ago. I think it was like a week and a half ago now. And they basically said that they're releasing an AI that's going to actually change the way your lips look when you're talking in the video to match other languages. And it's going to recognize your voice and make an AI voice for you automatically. So everyone's going to be getting more views and making more money soon, right? It's only a matter of time, which is why I wouldn't really worry too much about this skill yet. And the reason why I wouldn't worry about it is because YouTube is going to be using AI to actually be able to implement this soon. So what does this mean? It means this is the skill that you should be mastering right now. If you master visual storytelling and the actual skill of being able to just target anyone, you're going to 10x, 20x, 100x your views extremely quickly. That's how I brought this channel from 50,000 views a day to 5 million views a day. Because I just started implementing visual storytelling and using retention hacking, which is going to be the second part of this video after we get done with visual storytelling. So now that you kind of understand what visual storytelling is and how to actually do this, by the way, for this Roblox niche, this is just an example. You can do any niche and use visual storytelling. I would just kind of want to drop some free sauce for you guys because Roblox is a popping niche right now. All right. Now that we've figured out about targeting the world, The next thing we want to talk about is retention hacking. I'm going to say R hacking for short. Retention hacking is OP. The reason why retention hacking is OP is because you can actually be able to look at your analytics and just see what's wrong with your video. Most people are not overly critical enough of their actual content to be able to look and have the humbleness to be able to actually look at your content and be like, hey, this sucks. Let me fix it. Right? So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So here's an example of a bad retention graph. If you look at it here, you're going to see a dip here, 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 and here. Now, the first thing I think of when I see our retention graph is I look at, okay, what's the average view duration of the video? Well, it says over here it's 26 seconds, and this video was 34 seconds, and this video did not perform well. As you can tell by the retention graph, it looks pretty shaky. A good retention graph looks something like this. It's pretty much just flat, right? A bad retention graph looks something like this. You have multiple dips throughout the retention graph, and this indicates that every single time there is a dip, something happened in your video. So for example, we look at a dip here, here, and here. Okay, that indicates that someone left during this time, someone left during this time, and someone left during this time. So what I would do is I would go back to this video here, and I go here, okay, this is bad. Here, okay, this is bad. Here, okay, this is bad. And I would actually try to figure out what happened. And I would rewatch this as many times as I need to until I have a reason of why this is doing bad. And I do not stop watching it until I have a good, logical reason of why someone would click. Like, for example, I can't show you the actual video here because I don't want to leave the channel. But over here, I'm noticing that the intro is taking too long. And we went from 151 to 120. So we lost 30% of our audience within the first almost 2 seconds of the video. Then we have another clip over here. We go from 3 seconds to 5 seconds, and this is another 2 seconds. And the clip here goes from one sport to another sport. I can't show the clip again, but this is just an example of transitioning and understanding, okay, the retention dipped here. Now I'm going to fix it. Now here's another video. This video actually performed very good. Got 17 million views in just about a couple days. And you can see the retention graph is pretty straight. Now you can see there's a little big of a dip here, and that actually is pretty normal. You're always going to have a little dip here unless your swipe ratio is basically 100%, which is impossible. But you know, if you even get close to a 90% swipe ratio, you're going to have something that looks kind of like this, where you have a pretty nice retention graph. And this video was 33 seconds long. We had an average view duration of 34 seconds. So that's why this graph kind of looks like this over here. All right, now that you kind of understand retention graphs and actually how to use visual storytelling, I hope you can actually implement this into your next video to be able to actually start scaling your videos as quickly as possible. Because guys, I'm telling you, it literally takes 2 weeks to change your life. You can go from like just getting a little bit of views to a lot of views in a very short period of time. For example, going from 50,000 views a day to 5 million views a day. That's going from basically a couple dollars a day to a couple, $100 a day, like $300 to $500 a day off just YouTube Shorts. And because we're building our audience after every video, we're getting more views every single time. We make more money every single month. Because guess what? This is not a normal job. This is an exponential graph. The more money, or the more views you get, the more money you make, and the more money you make, the more views you get. It's pretty amazing. So this is kind of how I run my YouTube channels and how I'm scaling up so many so quickly. If you guys need any help with it, please just let me know. I actually am running a one-on-one. If you want to work with me one-on-one right now, go ahead and check out the first